Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of Deep Space Nine Reactions. I am Fred. If you are new to the channel, glad that you found us. If you are a returning viewer, glad that you're here. For those who are new here, here's how I do things. I watch the episode in its entirety. You get my uncut reactions as well as my general stream of consciousness in terms of what I'm reacting to, and as well as how much I remember and my own heavy mind of Trek lore and things of that sort. I am a Star Trek fan. Particularly, I'm a fan of Deep Space Nine. I will go off the rails at times if something comes to mind and so forth. I also tend to repeat a lot of certain phrases. Anyway, you do not see the actual episode of direct footage. We do blur it out, and we have an obscuration over that for DMCA copyright claim prevention purposes. Uh, you don't hear anything from the episode because, again, copyrighted music and things of that sort. And I don't want to have to edit these and butcher these the way some episodes of my hosting abridged reaction series kind of had to be heavily modified just to get the copyright claims removed. So anyway, this week's episode, Dramatis Personae, or Persona with an E. We are in the back end of season one, and what do I remember about this episode right off the bat? It is the episode where something comes through the wormhole I believe, via a Klingon ship or something, and infects the senior crew. It infects individuals who are on ops, and it's basically a reenactment of a power struggle with key roles being played by our main cast, our main our the main crew. It basically pits Cisco against Kira, and you have things with like, okay, O'Brien sides with Cisco, Jadzia's kind of lean more towards Kira, Bashir is kind of a shit stirrer. Things that us sort, and a lot of it has Odo being caught in the middle. Essentially, it's like whoever was, and we'll get into it more because as I watch something or as I think about it, the tumblers in my mind tend to unlock. So with that said, let's make sure. Let's get into it. Station log. It was a Tuesday. You're looking as adorable as ever. The funny thing about Valerian transports, I kind of wonder if and I'm trying to remember, are the Valerians involved with the Circle three-parter as smugglers who are getting Cardassian weapons to the Circle group? I'll have to keep that in mind as once we get to the opening of season two. Dolomite is used for everything. Cisco has a way of doing things. Yes, Kira, you want Cisco to do something? Bring actual evidence. And everybody wants to trade with the Federation, even though they have no money. Kira's not thrilled with having to try it Cisco's way. Yes. You're gonna do it. You're gonna clear it for docking, Kira. Even though you're not happy with it. Hi, Kira. Keiko and Molly are on a field trip to Bajor. Yeah, something's coming through the wormhole. It's basically almost like business as usual. Kind of funny that Odo's come all the way up to Opsis to give Kira some information pad, but instead of just transferring it to her personal terminal or something. It's you know, and the Klingon ship exploded. It was a Vorcha class of vessel. And you know how big that ship is, and how close the station is to the wormhole for it to explode and to rock against to make the station rock. Kind of interesting. Also interesting that Dax is giving O'Brien like information on what to try, even though he was a transporter tech. But they are using Cardassian transporters, so maybe his familiarity with that tech isn't up to par. Like it's a mystery. What? And this episode could have just easily gone, why did a Klingon ship explode? Why did this guy beam off? Why was his last word victory? It could have been an interesting concept in and of itself. But the reason why it will not go that particular way is because you already had a couple episodes. Well, matter of fact, we're just cut off the Forsaken. We already just had an episode where a being came through via the wormhole and is in the station computer, the pup. So it's kind of you having these episodes back to back. It is kind of odd in a way. So, and I will want to comment on this now, and I will comment certainly on it when we get to season 4. Is how once season 4 rolls around, the intro changes, and like the station and everything looks more busy, and is like it's a central port, a central hub, as opposed at this point in the show, with the intro reflects that the station is basically in the middle of nowhere. It's just sitting there. It's on the edge of space. And also let's take a moment here to plug the Twitch channel where you can see me streaming live 7 nights a week. Tonight, this being a Friday, we are continuing Shadow of the Tomb Raider, and tomorrow night, Saturday, we're going to be beginning Claire Obscure Expedition 33, and all archived versions of the Twitch streams can be found here on the YouTube channel with some audio edits here and there, such as our recent playthrough of The Quarry. Station log 469. Nice. 22.3. Again, it was a Tuesday. Why he did and the cause of the ship's destruction is really unknown and doesn't really get explained by the end of this episode. What type of weapon was used on him? Everything. Everything that was on a Klingon ship. There was like disruptors, so that would be disruptors, that list, the taggers. What type of bio? But it's kind of funny. Like the Klingons were doing a bio survey. But the funny thing is that there's not really a science lab on the Klingon ships. And Dax is just sitting there thinking, reminiscing. Yeah. You can already tell that something is off with Dax already, because the fact that she was just sitting there pondering, thinking to herself, smiling. So right off the bat, you can already tell something is not quite right. And Kira's not happy for the Valerian showing up. and she's denying them, even though she she she's already denying them docking, even though Cisco gave her the order to. Cisco does not look happy. Like it. And and again, the tension between them, and it's kind of funny that the tension between them in this episode is based entirely around this Valerian freighter. Hera is not happy, but she looks so damn cute when she's angry. Quark having problem with the Klingons. Yeah, that's not going to be a reoccurring thing in this series. No, it most certainly is not. Holosuite 6 wall. What did they do to the walls of the Holosuite? Klingons are all about bluster, throwing their weight around, bragging. That's my one though. What's so glorious about a biosurvey? Odo is just prying for information. And Quark is that slow turn from Quark. Yeah, yeah. Find out what was going on. But yeah, yeah. He hasn't heard anything. How many work crews are on Deep Space Nine, the station in of itself? There's at least 7. Boy, the back and forth between them is always awesome. We're coming back with the wormhole with something. So the question is, what did they find that will make the Empire like have something that will make their enemies tremble? That's kind of an odd thing there. And Odo is freaking out. He's going into spaz attack mode. Hell of an effect there too. Not certainly not cheap. And credit to Rene Auberjonois for the full acting, turning, and falling all in one motion. And also the great thing from the shot there, it shows that the infirmary is right across from Quarks. You know how many people, which comes in handy there with the hollow suites and everything. Somebody gets hurt, they go right over there. And like say if a team, let's say that the team was at the station, decided to put together a baseball team, and someone's idiot butter cracked someone over the back of their head with a baseball bat. It's good that the infirmary is right near the hollow suite. Does his body defy analysis? Well, you can just examine him outright. But Odo is just like, I have hands. I have hands. What are these? Oh, you tell me, Odo. He's like, what defines normal for you? In fact, the only person that could potentially describe what's normal for Odo is the scientist that especially whose care Odo was in for a long stretch of time. And I believe they show up in season 2, season 3. I'm not 100%. I don't remember. I remember they show up at one point in time. Something about Odo going through like a metamorphosis and becomes a very aggressive creature. Bashir marking that, hey, there's going to be trouble. There's going to be some shit stirring the pot here. What are you doing implying that there's something going on between Kira and Cisco involving the Valerians? Like he knows something is going on and committed to one side or the other side. I wonder, does Odo at any point ever go through Bashir's uh, analyzer for medical analysis purposes? He would have to. Who do you got, Kira? Oh, the Valerians? Oh, that's the other thing about this episode. Seeing how Cisco is hunched over his desk, he's making a clock. Kira is just all eager to stick to Valerians. Whose authority would you press charges there? It is a Bajoran station, so they have the overall authority to impound the vessel. Again, I just love Nana Visitor in terms of the body language is with Kira. It's like you can just tell it's like always on edge. It's when the intended version of Kira, the Mirrorverse universe, shows up, where you see Nana Visitor just going like all out in terms of in terms of her use of body language. And I almost feel like the intended character was created because of the body language that was being used. It had to at some point in time. It's somewhere in the debris field. Got start scanning. Start looking for everything. Gotta look for the little black box because you know those things are indestructible. Oh, a little side talking here, little sidebar. O'Brien talking about rumors. And without the knowing the context, without knowing that that they're under the influence of some alien thing or whatever, the this entire conversation here could be leading to like setting seeds up for stuff that you were seeing with the circle three-parter. Matter of fact, no, that come to think of it, that would be this would potentially be uh, laying out the seeds for that. If one argues that the alien influence is just having like the more negative sides of the characters, like bringing this stuff up here for the purposes of conflict, but these could be potential thoughts here because Cisco and Kira have butted heads at times over the course of the season up to this point. And there is the whole thing about Bajorans that we've seen earlier that they don't. A lot of them don't want the Federation there. He he helps. Odo helps Kira out in many ways, especially in later seasons, like season 6 and 7. Yes, it's cooperative now, and it will be much more later on between these two in terms of their relationship. Clarification there. Again, boy, just looking ahead, it's like looking ahead and remembering a lot of things that we would see with the intended version of Kira. A lot of that groundwork and subtlety from that performance is here. There's that slime manipulative, almost like I don't want to say seductive, but there's that there's a subtleness there It's not all the way there, but it certainly it it certainly it certainly exists. Yeah, you wanted him. Odo is already finding this suspicious that she wanted him to go behind, Cisco's back. Odo would choose the side of justice. And the thing is, remember who your friends are. Well, Odo has friends on both. Well, at this point, Kira would be the only person to be considered a friend, and Quark, a friend of me. But Stardate 469, nice 23.1. It's still a Tuesday. I don't know why this started that gag. Is this Kira has spies everywhere on the station? Who executed 2 crew members? Boy, it's like they did a great job reconstructing that video, didn't they? He slit someone who's the captain's spy. Klingon's mission failed and failed hard. Yeah, the Klingons most certainly would want to know. Although Dax looks less than interested. Boy, the second time this episode where Dax gets nailed down and Cisco just storming back into his office saying, "Yeah, don't bother me with this nonsense. He got a clock to build." But Odo is like noticing all of the stuff here. Oh, hell of a drink mixture from Quark. Red on the bottom, yellow in the middle, blue on the top. I wonder how they actually made that. The 2 loveliest creature on Deep Space Nine, yes, until Lita and Ezri show up. Then there'll be 3 lovely creatures. Cassidy X will make 4. Who am I forgetting? Well, those will be the 4 prominent ladies. Because Ezri replaces Jadzia, as we know. Put the shoe on the right foot first. Left foot first into the bathtub. What type of phrasing is that? Is Dax happy? No, she's drunk. But let's also consider this here. We are not even finished season 1 of Deep Space Nine, and already in this episode, Kira and Dax have exchanged more words than Troy and Beverly Crusher do over the course of 7 years of Deep Space Nine. Excuse me, of the Next Generation. Hey, are you trying to you gotta spell it out for Dax here, Kira? But again, remember what I'm saying here about the intended character and everything that about body language and stuff, and and Kira is certainly, or at least on a visitor's performance, it is flowing into it so beautifully. Like if they really wanted to, they could have made Kira into a sly, manipulative character, playing politics and such, using her charms to sway Federation officers to hold her own side. Like an interesting dynamic that obviously will not take place in this series, or at least the Prime universe. The sense of urgency too on Kira's face is also perfect, and one has also appreciate the nose ridges here too. Boy, Dax is so damn wistful and out of it. It's like he's stoned. or she's drunk off her ass, both or both. And also, one thing about this episode, in particular, this scene, was some of the close-ups on there. You just realize how damn blue Terry Farrell's eyes are. Now, this is one thing about this episode that raises questions of just how, hey, Morn! Just how strong is Kira? Because she grabs Quark, she easily pulls him nearly over the bar, and literally throws him against the shelves, all in one motion. Like, how strong is she physically? Also, Morn appears. Take a shot for Morn. Meanwhile, Quark walks in with a neck brace that he wants to press charges. You know, he needs a lawyer, an ambulance chaser. There, you heard her plotting. I appreciate that damn neck brace around the Quark's neck, and it. Yeah, Quark. He wasn't. Quark was attacked though. Do your job as a security officer. Yeah. Doesn't Kira's behavior seem a little odd and out of the ordinary? Well, yeah. Kira normally won't grab Quark and throw and break and nearly break his damn neck. Granted, she has probably thought about it numerous times, but she would never actually do it. Quark is like, "Don't ask me." Yeah, Quark is totally normal. What about pressing charges? Quark is just moving slower. Wait, was Quark overselling his injury? Dax looks so damn bored at her terminal, like so apathetic, and he gained control of the ship. Like there's so much stuff there. Oh, yeah, Cisco's not in his office. O'Brien is, and they're reviewing the logs there too. Why is he in his quarters? Why does he need to be safe? A Klingon actually recorded a log where he hid a thermite device under a beam on deck 28. A Vorcha class ship it's big, but it's not that big to have that many decks. And they mentioned energy fear, so I kind of wonder if to some extent, if this entire episode with the corruption of mutinies and all that stuff is a way to what's the episode in the original series episode? It had Animal Dar in it. Not Is There in Truth No Beauty? It's a season 2 episode. The Return to Tomorrow? I think it's the name of it. But it had like these spheres where they had personalities that swap personalities with Kirk and Spock, and then again Moldar's a one-shot character. But if anybody, if you reach this point in the video and if you know which episode I'm talking about, drop it in the comment section below. Noto's getting all over the place in the station, and security guards outside of Cisco's quarters. Brian station guards outside of Cisco's quarters? Weird. It's totally weird. One dude is simply huge. But they're the same security goons from if wishes were horses. How are you today, Constable? A fine Tuesday afternoon. How inappropriate. Granted, no, the joke doesn't work. It's like clearly it's a Wednesday now. He's Odo's being real careful with his words here. They've been abnormal. Like someone just swapped the brain. They put like a new brain into people. Whose brains? Abby, someone. Be who? Abby normal. Oh no, this lay not the he's giving the report there to a very uninterested Cisco is interesting. Cisco's doing some like needlework. Oh, he was making a map. No, not a map. Blueprint. It's a clock. It's an overcomplicated clock. That's what it is. How fascinating is it? And he's actually like doing the design by hand. As like it looked like he pulled like some type. He looked like he pulled some type of protractor out. Here's a great shot. Future Intendant Kira with her feet propped up on Odo's desk. Like, did you have an appointment to meet him, Kira? No, you did not. Yeah, so it's like, when is Odo on call for you? Like, where he has to be where you want him to be, Kira? That's that's a interesting like mindset here. What did you do to the Valerians now, Kira? Why won't it matter, Kira? Why? What did you do? He's going after Cisco and O'Brien and everyone else. I want someone to control and manipulate. But again, there's like the again the all the all these little character traits here. Knowing that they come back for the mirror reverse fusion of Kira, it's just glorious to see. If they can't convince me that they did not do that episode without the performance being here. Yeah, quite literally, Odo cannot be corrupted. They tried. They tried to have him not be to be corrupted, but then his body went through a tire spaz attack. Odo Odo tried to reach Starfleet Command, and Kira did, like cut them off from Federation headquarters, and you can't contact the Bajoran Council because O'Brien cut off the communications. So the sides are counter each other. And Odo's going to review the log of the Klingon first officer. And Odo's putting all the pieces together, realizing there was an alien race involved. Day 22, that was clearly a Saturday. It was a collection. They found a collection of energy spheres, some kind, but again, that has to be like a subtle reference to the Return to Tomorrow, whatever the hell the name of that episode was. So they found something there, and the making of the clock O'Brien is like trying to keep Cisco informed, and Cisco just informed with that damn clock. God damn, Avery Brooks can be scary even without the goatee. Just him raising his eyes, I look head tilted down, raising his eyes and then smiling. That's a terrifying look for anybody, but Avery Brooks pulls that off so damn well. He has that. Yeah, Phaser. I'll get rid of Kira. It's funny. It's like how Cisco just jump to action about leaving the station when he's been passive aggressive and like doesn't want to be bothered with anything, and making a damn clock nearly this entire for the majority of the episode. And it goes back into a bit of calm. And if you ever need to like understand a joke that Avery Brooks has two modes of acting: very quietly, soft as a whisper, and then loud as hell. Odo has walked into the infirmary. Oh, and Bashir was siding with the Kirika. That dude is. I remember that dude goes up to Ops to try and take out Cisco. So it's interesting that Bashir was siding with Kira, but then again, knowing Bashir is a chaser of the ladies, it works out in that regard. The Klingon, Doctor, what did you find? There are no jokes here. Yes, Bashir, you're in the middle here. You can be a kingmaker. Yeah, and Odo is playing him like a fiddle here. It's like playing to like the ego of Bashir, knowing that he's under an alien influence, or figure that he's under an alien influence. And it's interesting that Bashir has enough of his. Okay, so here's the thing about Bashir, like giving those answers in the way it is. Like, I wonder how much of his natural personality is there, or and his medical knowledge and curiosity overrides the influence of the thing that's controlling him. Because Odo does not have a humanoid brain; his brain is liquefied. Yes, you are, Bashir. You are not. You're totally acting out of the ordinary. And which would kind of make a little bit of sense when you figure that Bashir is genetically engineered. Maybe there will be some differences with his mind in terms of a normal humanoid brain. Yeah, given a choice, lose the telepathic field or the station gets blown up. Interesting conundrum there. You won't regret anything, Doctor. Get your overeagerness in gear. But again, it does contradict that the fact that he was like trying to like play both sides, even though he did technically side with Kira, knowing what's about to happen. Yeah, like I was right. It's that dude. And Cisco finally gets to kick someone's ass. Ooh, that backhand knocks him out cold. Cisco does not mess around. Palm strike, forearm to the side of the head. Leap over. He wants the whole truth. You can't handle the truth, Commander. Oh, phaser shot out of nowhere. You put it down. O'Brien has. Oh no, it goes to commercial break. Or as some people would say, commercial break. I'm making fun of someone in particular with that. Damn right I am. Boy, Chief caught Dax good there. It was like that backhand. Site to site transports. Always a good decision. And Dax was supposed to deactivate the transporters, but the like she's so absent-minded. She's so nonchalant about everything. Everybody can trust Odo. Like Odo and Quark are the most trustworthy people on this station. Head to the cargo bay entrance. Yeah, leave your comm badge there. They'll be standing there. Like, why would why would the chief look so damn worried? Like he's done it before. Oh no, it's like it takes her a minute to realize that they took the comm badges off. Who's taking out the force fields? And who could do that? Odo, Kira realizing it's Odo. And whose side is Odo? Whose side is Odo on? It's your side, Kira. Believe him. Yeah, and Odo is setting everything up, is playing this beautifully. He's getting everyone into position, being Cargo Bay 4. Kind of makes you wonder. It's like, does Odo literally drag Bashir there? Oh, okay. So, like, why would he drag Bashir along there? Okay, Colin Meaney never needs to be seen running on camera ever again. Let's go with the opening and the flexing of the hands, almost in a musical way too. How can you tell it's completely locked down just by looking at the guts of the system? That's 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 a that's a weird thing. Because you would need to see that from more of a display station, like a display panel, not like the internal guts. What disturbs Cisco? Many things. Cisco, possessed Cisco is very much pissed. There's a lot. It's like how much of this is actually just brewing below the surface, and it's brought to the surface because of this telepathic field. And meanwhile, everyone shows up. Execute Odo 1. Odo has been executed. And everyone has a headache. Grab your heads in pain. This is why, you know what would actually have been solve this problem? Extra strength Tylenol. And the field is above the heads. wonder how much on the same time though another episode where this kind of takes into play is power play, because the ending to that one teased an opening of an airlock as we're seeing here to suck out like these evil possessing fields and whatnot. So that raises a few questions there. How much influence did that episode have on this episode? Uh, in a broad general sense, because the ending of this one, you could most certainly see being the ending factored into the climax of that TNG episode. Everybody, welcome back. Have you had a good trip? And Kira's hair is barely a strand out of place. Friday 46924.5. It was a Friday. Hey, perfect timing. Actually, no, that technically will be a Thursday, I think. Everyone has returned to normal? Wait a second. Was Quark able to press charges against Kira? I believe the clock that is built in this episode it ends up being seen for the remainder of the series. Oh, are we sure about that? But if anyone is responsible for the actions, but it's like, how much of it do they truly remember? Yeah, Cisco overlooked the mutiny for now. It's like you overlook it this time. Yes, you trying to mutiny and rebel against Cisco again? He'll take that clock and bash it over your head. But again, it's a fascinating thing. Is like why they kept that clock piece at the end, because it does get seen over the course of the remainder of the series, I believe, numerous times. All right, but that wraps up the episode. Kind of a very much a very fast. It's actually a fast paced episode. Granted, I was able to keep a lot of my interest in it with it was like references and thoughts on other things pertaining to like how much time did I spend talking about? Oh wait, I sing so much on Kira. Like when do we get to that episode? Yeah, that's somewhere in the middle of season 2, I believe. It's like you have the intendant and Kira being on the same screen as one another is that's going to be a hoot when we get to that. Overall, this is a very fine episode in terms of like uh a straight up possession episode, like mind control. It's one of the better ones in the genre in terms of Star Trek, in my opinion. And I say that because so many of them are crappy and they exist in Star Trek Voyager. It's like, and I probably should have thought. It just occurred to me now where I could have kind of like almost compared this episode to the episode where Chakotay is like laying in a coma, and it turns out Tuvok is under an evil alien's influence, and Chakotay's spirit is floating around, taking control of Kes and other people, getting them to do things. It's oh Christ, that episode sucked. But if one wants to look at the broader spectrum and say that the telepathic field, the alien influence, what brought certain things to the surface that you will see with these characters, because we do know Cisco at the very beginning of the series was not exactly thrilled to be on the station, but he's going to do his job and he's going to do his job as well as possible. We know that about him. We know Kira had a lot of issues with Starfleet being there, and while she is gradually improving and getting over those issues as a character, and she really, it's part of her character growth. So you could totally see the alien influence just bringing that back up with her, especially when you know what happens with the circle and that particular three party and the attitude of a number of Bajorans. Then you have like, okay, the aloofness of Dax, Bashir's like constant like meddling, a little bit of shit stirring, but you kind of almost see why they pair uh, Bashir up with Garrick in so many scenes. When Garrick returns as a character in season 2, you actually like see why the characters work, why Bashir character works so well with Garrick, and later on with Sloan in the Section 31 stuff much later in the series. So Bashir, like these little nuances and little things and attitudes of the characters, and like we know O'Brien is always going to be taking a tactical approach to trying and view his way out of a situation if need be. And but there's also picked up a lot on, as a focus on Odo and him like deducing there's a problem, realizing something is off, tracking down exactly what the cause of it is, and then manipulating the entire situation around to actually solve the problem. It goes to show like how effective Odo is as a general, like broad security officer and constable, making sure of retaining the peace and the status quo. I still have my questions about Quark and everything. Did he press charges or not on Kira? Like he would have had to. He would have had to get some sort of compensation for that, for what happened. Anyway, we'll wrap this up here. Next week, I believe the episode is Duet. Forsaken, Dramatis Persona, Duet, uh, in the hands of the prophets. Yeah, okay. So yeah, Duet will be next week. I think Duet is next week's episode. Very much looking forward to that. Of course, as I mentioned, be sure to come out and hang out with me over on my Twitch channel. Again, later tonight we are playing Shadow of the Tomb Raider, continuing our journey through that. Tomorrow we're starting Claire Obscure Expedition 33. Also, we are closing in on the end of the Ninja Turtle Next Mutation reaction series. We'll cover episodes parts 2 and 3 of Unchain My Heart this upcoming Wednesday. Of course, I'll be watching those episodes on Tuesday and recording them for Wednesday. With that all said, tighten your friendship bracelet, stay safe, have a great day, and we'll see you next time. Also, like, comment, subscribe if you're so inclined.